Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm breaking down the trade that I took to make $205 on Sqqq. I traded Sqqq because it goes up when QQQ goes down. So today QQQ went to the downside. I was targeting the downside. I used Sqqq as my investment vehicle to get me to where I wanted to go. So with that being said, let's break down this trade. We zoom out here on a 2-minute time frame. I'm not going to go to the other time frames because this thing takes too long to switch between time frames. So 2-minute time frame, we pushed up after hours yesterday, created a resistance, couldn't break past it, broke structure to the downside, started moving down right here. We pulled back to 50% retracement of this huge move right here. We accumulated right here, right? Pulled back to it. And I thought to myself, okay, this could be the only bit that we pull back. But then market opened and we started dumping and we had to close below this low right here. And I already knew, okay, we're probably going to keep going down. So what are my downside targets? The only reason I assumed that we're going to go down is because we had such an aggressive move up, which means that we're leaving orders behind in the market that need to be filled. On top of that, we had whatever was happening. I don't know, somebody tweeted or something yesterday where the market was literally just whipsawing back and forth. So we just chopped around all day yesterday, and then we whipsawed back and forth, dumped, and then pushed up. So we're going to have to pull back at some point because this push up was so aggressive that people's orders are still sitting there waiting to be filled. So that being said, with that idea in mind, I target my areas. First area I have targeted is 523 to the downside, and second is 518.42. 518.42 is first because of this area of liquidity, and then I'm not going to go to it, but further to the left, it was a previous area of resistance that turned into support. So it's a pretty solid level there at 518.42. And then 523 was just based off of basically, I could have marked out yesterday's high up here, but I just made it whole psych number. So it's just 523 because we had a touch here, right? We might have broken above it here, but then we had a touch here and then we broke above it here, right? So I just went with 523 for that level, but it's more of an area. So zooming in here now, we can see on the 2-minute time frame, as soon as market opened, we just dumped and the first 2-minute candle closed below the low. Now, disregard this candle because I don't know what's going on here, but we basically closed below this low, and then we're staying below the 13 and 48 EMAs with targets to the downside. We immediately go and hit the 523 target, and then we have a bounce, and as soon as we get a bounce, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to enter once we get a reject off of either the 13 or the 48 EMAs. The 13, typically, if we open in the morning and we have an aggressive push down, the 13 is the only EMA that price has enough energy basically to pull back to, because there's too many sellers within the market that it's not going to let it pull back to this 48 EMA. It's going to pull back to the 13 and it's going to continue to its target, and then it's going to turn around like it is right now. So I simply waited for a reject off of this 13 EMA. Once we got a few buyers in here, got a reject off of that, entered right here, set stop above the 13 EMA, and then just simply targeted this low right here initially. That was my idea, right? But I wanted it to push past that. I wanted to get this push that we got. So I didn't mark it out, but I sold about 50% of the position here, and then the remaining position, the other 50%, I sold down here at the bottom once we started to get another nice push. So my first target here was obviously like this low of day, but since there were so many sellers and I knew that there was a downside target being 518.42, I wanted to see price push past this low very aggressively, and that's exactly what it did, and then I was able to get a better sell on it. So that was the trade for today. Now, initially, I entered with 700 shares of Sqqq. So I entered 700 shares right here with Sqqq. This was just before news was about to come out. News came out on this 10 a.m. candle. I think it was right here. There was basically no reaction with news, which honestly sucked because I was in with 700 shares. I sold half before the news came out, in order to protect myself if news was positive and went against me too quickly. So I sold half, and then I ended up re-entering on this candle right here at 10:02, just re-entering the other half size and then following it back down. So my average position size went up slightly, but I protected myself for when news came out. So overall, that's the trade on QQQ, or on Sqqq for the day. It was 700 shares to the downside, and it was an average of like 30 cents or 29 cents per share that I made, so about $205. So yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys learned something from this video. That was the trade for today. I kept it simple. I'm not taking any other trades. It's choppy now. Obviously, as you can see, we came down, we took whatever we were going to take. We didn't hit 518.42 exactly, but that's another reason that you have to be careful with your trades. And one thing I used to do is I used to be stubborn, and I would still be in, I might be out half my position, but I would still be in the other half of the position waiting for it to hit 518.42. And I'll tell you what, it is absolutely not worth it, because let's say I was still in half of my position right now, and I only sold half down here, and the other half I was waiting for it to hit 518.42. I would be sitting in this right now. I would let price go all the way back to break even and sell at break even, right? Instead of it hitting 518.42 just because I want it to go a few more cents, right? Just sell the position and leave. There's literally no other point to be staying in this trade, because I have sat here before, sold half my position here, for example, sat in this as price chops around for the next 2 to 3 hours, constantly checking my phone, sitting at the computer, whatever, and wasting my time and energy sitting here when I could have just been out right here. So that's the lesson for today's video. If it pushes down in your favor, sell like 80% of it. And then if the rest goes back to break even, then cool, you don't care about the rest. But if you sell half, right, and you want the other half to go down to a further target, and you're going to sit there and it's going to bother you all day, then just get out of the entire position, because it's not worth your mental stress to be sitting there all day while it does that. So yeah, that's the trade today that I took on Sqqq. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Hopefully you can apply it to your own trading. Kept it simple, kept it straightforward, and we're making a comeback here. So slowly but surely, we will be scaling up, but slowly. So thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.